A very good morning, team. We're back with another daily market outlook, and we have a lot to discuss because last night EURUSD pushed in towards the upside after a ceasefire was announced between the United States and Iran. Now, on the back of this overall news announcement, we can clearly see that the order flow has held and has driven price further in towards the highs, taking out the trendline liquidity that we were anticipating here on EURUSD. Now, throughout the markets and throughout the weeks, we have seen a lot of complicated price action, right? We all discussed that EURUSD was pretty much in an area of consolidation, with obviously some initial shorts driving price down lower. We saw that every single time the market again wanted to continue in towards the upside. Now, after reacting to this area of consolidation, if we extend that right, that was our area of supply. And indeed, this internal bullish trend shifted bearish after the internal break here, giving us a swing high and a swing low, and therefore there being potential for some downside after the market retraced into premium pricing. However, as we also discussed together in these market outlooks, we need to understand where we are trading off, because despite the fact that the market might have retraced into premium pricing, so above the 0.5 fib, there was no clear liquidity high here to the left, which we could have traded off and which was going to really give us that full-blown reversal in towards the downside. And number two, these are all ugly highs, right? So we were anticipating on the fact that we had the one, the two, the third trendline touch, and that we were going to grab that liquidity at some point. Because the rejection here in towards the downside, what does that cause? It causes a lot of people here to go short on those bearish candlesticks with the stops above the highs or above the entire trend line. Now, all of those people have now been stopped out, and we're now beautifully pushing further in towards the upside, towards the overall yearly open, from where we can potentially start looking for a back downside push once again. Because of the fact that we've now seen a break of structure, at some point we are going to expect that a potential pullback happens. And where do we expect the pullback to happen from? Well, one, after the break of structure, but number two, from a point of liquidity. So for example, over here we have some liquidity, and number two, from an area of significance like this yearly open, together with a change of character. So if around that yearly open we start seeing some slowdown, maybe an ascending pattern, from there we could potentially look for a potential pullback play once again. But this is the overall price action explained here on EURUSD, guys. And a very important lesson that we all need to learn, and I talked about this on Instagram as well today, is that when we have a massive news-driven push in towards a certain direction here, let's say the push down, the pullback, the push down, pullback, push down, pullback, push down. This entire push down was driven by what? It was driven by US dollar being strong due to fundamental uncertainty. But at some point in time, when the market starts consolidating, and even with us seeing those negative headlines within the news, right? The negative global headlines, the dollar didn't cause us to see EURUSD push down anymore, meaning that downside was kind of like capped. It was already priced in all of that bad news over here. So the only real news announcement that is then going to be moving the market is the positive news of a de-escalation, and that's what caused then EURUSD to exponentially explode so hard and so significantly back in towards the highs. Now, this retracement is actually very, very perfect, because with this retracement happening after the break of structure taking place here, we're now retracing back up towards the 0.5 fib and towards the yearly open, which is our immediate target. Ideally, we will see some more upside here, and then from, let's say, this supply zone / this liquidity high, we'll start looking for that retracement back in towards that daily demand zone. This is going to be a nice overall 4-hour short position, which could start coming towards us somewhere in the near future, potentially next week. Going into the dollar index pushed back in towards the downside. Again, if you paid attention to yesterday's market outlook, I explained that the dollar index price action has been so consolidative. After previously sweeping the range high, we're now moving back down towards the range low, towards that yearly open. And from there, that's where I expect to bounce again. So some more downside for now could be expected from the dollar index, in my opinion. Going on to GBP USD, GU is now shifting back in towards the highs. Not yet a daily shift in structure, because the daily supply here is still in control. As we can see, the supply zone here is still in control. So for myself, not really any positions here on GBP USD. Still, the overall market structure is bullish, though. Do keep that in mind. And we have taken out the final liquidity low. But for real longs to come into play, we would need to shift the order flow, and then we could potentially start looking for some longs again if we break back above the overall yearly open. GBP USD, for the rest, not any real high probability plays from my end. AUD on the other hand has retraced further in towards the upside. Again, as we mentioned in yesterday's market outlook, remember what we talked about? That was the 4-hour liquidity. So the 4-hour market structure here is the push up. Then we had another push here in towards the upside. Then the 4-hour market structure shifted bearish, with this being your entire push down. Now, where is that significant liquidity positioned? Well, above the overall high here. So what I'm waiting for is still some further upside from AUD, and then maybe an order flow shift, and we could start looking for a potential short again, if then at the same time the fundamentals shift up a bit on us, where we start seeing let's say some tensions or some increase in overall tensions. Now, USD, happy that we haven't really gone short on this without any confirmation, because again, if you were here in the outlooks from the past week, remember, yes, from a daily perspective, where do we have supply? Well, we have supply positioned over here, but you guys know it as well. Again, if you're a frequent viewer of these market outlooks, we took out major daily liquidity. So again, man, if you just long that daily liquidity low, what can happen? You can see here a simple 1-to-1 R. As simple as that. Now, obviously, those are, let's say, a little bit riskier plays. But with that supply zone overall being in control, we were still identifying a potential short setup. But if we go to the 4-hour time frame, what can we see? We can see that we had liquidity positioned over here. Liquidity had not yet been taken out. This was the impulse down. So push, pull back, push. This is the liquidity high. We needed to take out that liquidity high before looking for a short, but yeah, obviously no confirmation for any shorts at all. So no setups there on USD for myself. The only setup that was really there was that overall daily swing position that you could have taken from that daily swing low. Now, if you're looking for a setup here on NU, the obvious next setup will come on the next retracement and then look for the next long position. So we can eye up some longs here as we've taken out daily liquidity, and we have now seen a daily change of character here as well in towards the upside. So we have the two things that we need for a potential long position. Going into USD Swiss has sold off aggressively. Again, happy that we didn't trade this. What we've now seen here is the overall daily liquidity high get grabbed, even this highest point as well getting grabbed as well. Now, what's happened is that the daily shift is about to take place. I'm going to dive into USD CAD in a second, because USD CAD, in my opinion, was a stronger one. We're now back in this daily demand zone. If this low breaks, then the real shorts, in my opinion, could start playing out again. But USD Swiss, for the rest, was not the highest probability play. For me, USD CAD was a higher probability play. But then again, if you look at it from, let's say, a logical perspective, maybe, yeah, this here was the supply, and then again, that pushed the market down lower. And apparently this here to the left was not significant liquidity enough to really give us a drive up higher. But yeah, USD Swiss could turn out to be a nice play again if we start breaking this low here, and that becomes the overall supply zone. Then we could start looking for shorts again, in line with, by the way, the overall daily swing structure from this high in towards this low. USD CAD, on the other hand, was a setup that we've talked about, and that has actually played out. 4-hour setup here, with this being our overall area of supply. Go to the 1-hour time frame, and what you'll then see here is that you had a nice impulse in towards the downside. Where was liquidity? Above this bump in the road. Then we had push up, push down, push up, and then here we pretty much had that, let's say, order flow shift happen. And then again, you see the internal little liquidity high here got grabbed, and from there we started selling off. It was a bit of an aggressive setup. I was relatively careful with it on discussing it, but yeah, overall it did play out. And again, where did it push down from? It pushed down from a daily overall liquidity high. So yeah, good setup overall, and congratulations if you were able to capitalize on those shorts. Definitely let me know if you did in the comments down below. Then USD JPY, again, yes, selling off in towards the downside. Nothing here really for me to trade at the moment. We're at the top of the weekly range. So yeah, not really taking any long positions, not interested in any longs. From a 4-hour perspective, there's not much as well. The only good thing that you're seeing here on a short perspective side is that, let's say, we didn't really take out any significant liquidity to give us the next major push in towards the highs. So the way I'm reading this here is that there is still a low open right over here, which should be grabbed very, very soon. And then what happened is just a push down. This is internal liquidity, and then it facilitates the next drive down towards the real point of liquidity. And then from there, we could see a bounce back up again, potentially, but nothing really there for myself. Then, of course, gold, guys. What has gold been doing? Well, gold has exploded in towards the upside, as we relatively anticipated. Let me talk about it from the perspective of the 15-minute time frame. where on the 50-minute, we obviously had this high here as our target. So this liquidity high here as a target. What's happened is first push up, then we had the second push up, and now we've had the third push up. So if you look at this from a market structure perspective, low, high, and then again a low and a high. We retraced all the way back down towards the lowest point of liquidity. We've taken that out, manipulated multiple times, on it. And again, if you just long the lowest liquidity point, stop loss underneath the swing low, target the liquidity high again, you would have had a nice overall setup. Much bigger explosion than I would have expected, if I'm very honest. But again, nice price action. And yeah, congratulations if anybody was able to capitalize on those longs. For now, not really interested in the shorts anymore because first of all, this liquidity point could have provided us with the next downside push, in my opinion. But now with another breaker structure up, to me, it clearly shows, okay, the bulls are for now in control. We're now seeing the bullish market structure. So for now, the next point of liquidity is my target, which is this high here. So the next reaccumulation could be the next long opportunity back up towards liquidity because, again, I don't expect the market just to randomly sell off from here. I'm looking always to trade towards points of liquidity. So on the next retracement, we'll be looking for a new long position there on gold. So that's it for today, guys. With the current price action that we're seeing on EURUSD, a lot of new opportunities could arise. So make sure to be active inside Discord and to be active here in the comments as well, and make sure to check in with the daily market outlooks because I'll be here every single day making sure to inform you guys on all of the latest developments. Thanks for watching and speak soon.